Hey everybody, it's Nikki with another Wellness Wednesday, and I'm here with Wanz. Welcome.
Hi, how you doing?
So for this Wellness Wednesday, I wanted to talk a little bit about sobriety. It is for some people Sober October, and I know that you have been an advocate for sobriety in music, especially for a long time. So tell us a little bit about your life and your story.
Well, my life is long because I'm old, but the condensed version is basically, I've been singing since I can remember. And that got me all the way through secondary school and into college. And I sang all through college. And then I moved to Seattle and started getting in bands and playing and hanging out, and trying to become a star. But after about 30 years, that didn't work out. And during that period, I was really in a deep depression. The relationship I was in was going way south, way fast. And I started drinking one Saturday morning at 8 a.m. and just got completely loaded. And by 7 o'clock that evening, I was entertaining a woman and her child that were not my partners. Of course, I was watching my son, so the kids had something to do, and I was like with the mom, and we were screwing around. And I got done messing around with her and went in the mirror, looked in the mirror in the bathroom, and I didn't recognize who I was looking at. That's the last time I had a drink. That was the first Saturday in August 1999. So I didn't know what to do, but I had a friend suggest to me that I go to AA. And I went to an AA meeting, and they told me to come back. And so I did. And they told me to find a home group, get a sponsor, read the literature, and, figure it out. So I started doing all that stuff, and I ended up picking a meeting as my home group. And now my sober birthday is the 22nd. That's the first time I ever went to that group. And last August, I celebrated 21 years of sobriety. So over the years, it's like, what are the benefits of sobriety? Well, mainly every day I get to wake up instead of come to. And every night I get to go to sleep rather than pass out. There's no hangovers. There's no puking. There's no, I drive by blue lights and I kind of laugh because it's not me. There are more than a few people over the years that are in the music community who didn't know how to broach this. They didn't know, and they ask me, and I say, the best place to start is I call them mind experiments, and start with 10 minutes. If you can do something for 10 minutes, like, I just got done having top ramen for lunch, but you know what I wasn't doing when I was making that top ramen? I wasn't drinking. If I'm driving somewhere, you know what I'm not doing? I'm not drinking. And it's a matter of stacking those little bricks, those little pebbles, and they make bricks, and then the bricks make, this foundation. If you can do something for 10 minutes, you can do it for 30. If you can do it for 30, you can do it for an hour. If you can do it for an hour, you can do it for a day. And that was basically my understanding. And day upon day upon day, every day I wake up and all five senses work. Yay, I have a chance. And that's all it is. A chance. No matter what comes at me, I just have a chance, because I figured out that without alcohol, what I figured was I had a superpower, and that superpower was choice. When I got loaded all the time, there really wasn't any choice. It was like a repeat of some bad Star Trek Deep Space Nine episode over and over again. I always knew how it was going to end. I always knew, it was always going to end up with either me getting in a fight with someone, or me being broke the next day with a hangover. And what did I do? Or, luckily I retired with a perfect record. I didn't hit anybody. I didn't hit anything. And I really didn't have serious consequences. But every day, from minute to minute, hour to hour, that's how everybody does it.
Yeah, and you've been on some pretty big tours, and you've done some pretty big things in your career. And at that level, I feel like drinking is sort of part of the culture.
Yeah. I mean, in the 90s,
a little bit about that.
Well, in the 90s, you know, I drank like a fish in the 90s, and living in Seattle, all those guys that you know real well, Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, and Pearl Jam, all those guys I hung out with all the time. They were my drinking buddies. Every Thursday, every Sunday, saw those guys all the time. And that's what we did. We got loaded. About 2010, I had another life-changing moment. All this is in sobriety. It's like my world was kind of falling apart, and I got a job in tech. And in that year and a half that I was there, it was the greatest job I'd ever had. Got up every morning, took the bus to work, working on beats on the bus. Got done with work on the bus, working on beats. Came home to my apartment and tried to record because, you know, I wanted to be famous. But it didn't look like that was going to happen because there's nobody, there was nobody as old as I am who was like, you know, topping the charts. So I kind of had to dig myself out. That was like the second, probably I'd say the fall of 2008 through the spring of 2010 was like the first really depressing part of my life for me, because I just didn't see it happening. And I'd had that dream since I was, a kid. But while I was working at that place, I got a call from a friend of mine, and he got a call from a producer friend of his who needed a singer who sounded like Nate Dogg. And I already had that reputation. And lo and behold, an hour later, I was meeting Macklemore and Ryan Lewis. And lo and behold, another hour later, they cut me a check after me singing, "I'm gonna pop some tags, only got $20 in my pocket." And this month makes 8 years since I quit work and went on the road for the very first time. I would not have been in a position to see that kind of opportunity if I were still using. I wouldn't have been a good tour mate and wouldn't have been able to stay on tour if I were getting loaded all the time. And, you know, it's not easy. The first time we went to Paris, we did an after show at a club, and you know the DJ setup was kind of in the middle of the room, and it was surrounded by this place. And this place was it's like 350 people. That's why there were 700 people in there. It was packed. So once you got on stage, you couldn't get off. And sure enough, you know, Thrift Shop's like the second song, and we did a 5-song set. So there was nowhere for me to go except kind of stand off to the side. Well, there's French people with big, huge bottles of Dom Perignon. Here. And I don't speak French. So I didn't know how to tell them, no, I don't drink. I just had to go, nah. But there was like no escape. And all I kept thinking is, okay, we're this far through this song. Oh, good, we're doing Can't Hold Us. That means there's only like 1 or 2 songs left. Oh, good, we're doing And We Dance. That means there's only the encore left. Okay. All I did was occupy my time and just try to be polite, turn my back every once in a while, you know, until it was over. And we got into the van after that show, and one of the guys is like, "We should go back in." And Macklemore and I are like, "No."
Yeah, because he's also sober, right?
Well, he was working on it.
Yeah.
He's had slip-ups. It's one of those things. Being sober is not a solitary thing. It's better if you have a buddy. It's way better if you have a group. Because I didn't know, you know, it used to be, think about it. When you were younger, did you know how to take a shot of tequila?
No.
You know, which comes first, the salt or the lime? Did you know how that worked? No. Somebody kind of showed you how to do it. Did you know how to make an old fashioned? Did you know how to make a daiquiri? No. You learned all this stuff. Well, you have to reverse that process, because life happens to everybody all at the same time. And it's not the loss of a job or getting in a car accident or landing a really big contract. Those aren't the things that would cause most people to drink. The thing that causes most people to drink is being in a hurry and shoelace breaks, or you're running to catch a cab and your heel snaps off, or the strap of your purse breaks and everything falls out. It's little frustrations. There's a friend of mine in the program, and he says, it's not those big choices that we have to watch out for. It's all those little teeny weeny ones that make up the big ones. And I took that to heart. And, you know, I think about, am I going to go left here or right here? Am I going to put my right leg in the pant first or the left leg in the pant first? Because these are all exercises for me in power. My superpower, your superpower, choice.
Yeah, definitely. I've found that the hardest part is that comfortability, you know, like when you're out at a gathering and everybody has a drink and you're the only one without one. That was the hardest part getting started, was like, how do I navigate situations that I've only navigated as an adult with a drink? So that was a learning process.
Yeah, I started with orange juice and cranberry. It looked like a tequila sunrise.
Yeah, like a fake.
And the word virgin takes on a whole new thing. You know, it's like, Macklemore turned me on to virgin mojitos. I was like, ooh. So I drank those for a while, but I settled on, and to this day, it's like if I go out and I feel like, I'm in a situation where everybody has a drink and I don't want to have to explain. I don't want to be, I order tonic and cran with a lime in a pint glass.
Yeah.
Serve it all over the world.
No one's going to ask you.
And it's great.
Yeah. That's great. Do you have any tips for people who are, maybe aren't looking for a lifetime of sobriety, but just looking to slow down, take a break, something that you'd recommend?
Well, it has been my experience that, no one can tell you no one can tell if you're an alcoholic but you. It's very much a self-evaluating thing. I mean, when I came in, they asked me, so did you drink every time that you got, or did you drink every time you got in trouble? No. Well, every time you got in trouble, had you been drinking? Yes. And so they told me to, snag a big book, this big blue book, and it says Alcoholics Anonymous. Read the first, 40 pages of it. Read the doctor's opinion and Bill's story. And then if you can relate to a lot of the things that are talked about in that book, then you might want to talk to somebody, because, drinking is not the problem. Stopping is the problem. And that's the way it is with every kind of addiction,
Right.
Yeah. They used to say, it's not the caboose that kills you. So if there's not a first one, there doesn't need to be a last one.
Right. Yeah. And you spoke a lot about the lifestyle changes that you've had. Did you notice a lot of physical changes when you quit drinking? Definitely.
Like I said earlier, it's like, there's a huge difference between waking up and coming to. I can't remember the last time that I wasn't sure where it was I woke up or what I did the night before.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I can't remember the last time I had to spend half the night in the bathroom hugging the porcelain god.
Yeah.
It's things like that. I can't remember the last time it's like, oh, I need to pay for something and it's important, but I don't have any money because I spent it at the bar last night.
So in COVID times, we're seeing a lot of people, an increase in drinking. Mm-hmm. And you spoke a little bit about it's all those little frustrations. Do you think that's part of it? It's that idea of like, I'm home and I'm just frustrated because I can't go out, and I'm frustrated because my job is, all the little things are kind of building up. Yeah. Do you think that's contributing to people's increase in drinking during this?
Definitely. Because see, as Americans, we tend to grow up thinking we have control of our lives. But if we have control of our lives, how would there be accidents? Right?
Yeah.
I used to say, thinking that I have control of things, people, place, things, situations, thinking I have control of things is like holding a puff of smoke. Right? It's an illusion. You can make a choice about what's happening, but you can't really control what's happening.
Yeah.
And it takes you a little while to realize this, and you feel kind of helpless because, being powerless is not a really great feeling. But having that power of choice in those times, you can choose what you're going to do. Some people want to watch Netflix. I have I have therapy things all over the house, right? I can come in my studio and just hang out. I can watch TV that I used to watch when I was a kid. I can do a lot of other things. I can go out for a walk, but the one thing I won't do is pick up a drink, because I know it doesn't lead me anywhere that I want to go.
Yeah. So with AA, if you want to find a meeting, you can just search AA meeting near me on Google, probably, and find one. And if you want to go to AA, is it something where you have to work the steps and do the program? Or if you're just curious and you want to learn about it, you can show up to a meeting. What's that kind of like if you're just AA curious, I guess?
Yeah, when I first started going to meetings, I thought it was amazing that we'd have people in there who were like doing school assignments. And, you know, and they asked, you know, is anybody new? And somebody raised their hand, and it's like, here, I have this, I'm taking a class in social behavior and blah, 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 blah. But, you know, when you're looking at a meeting, all you need to see is if it's open. Open meetings are open to everyone, right? There are open meetings that are men and women only. There are mixed ones. There are gay, straight ones. I mean, there are meetings everywhere. In Seattle, I mean, yeah, thankfully there's a ton, right? And with the head office being in New York, I would imagine it wouldn't be very hard to find one. But the whole thing of it is like, you know, if it's all a choice, right? No one there is going to be, you must come back. You know, you are a drinker. You are a bad person. No one ever does that. No one ever does that. But I'll tell you what, the weirdest feeling in the world is sitting in a room of people that you don't know, and a complete and total stranger is telling you a story, and you have walked those exact steps and felt those exact feelings. When somebody tells your story that you don't know, then it becomes interesting. And, you know, don't be afraid to ask questions, because you never know. Most people aren't alcoholics, but there are those who are alcoholics who will always say they're not. And that's what's there's weird. Only alcoholics count their drinks. Only alcoholics say, I'm only going to have X amount. Only alcoholics worry about other people's drinks. Why aren't they finishing that? They're wasting a perfectly good half glass of wine. Only alcoholics do that kind of stuff. It used to drive me nuts. Be at a party at school and wake up the next day and all these half beers. And it didn't matter if I was hungover or not. I drank those suckers because I liked beer and I liked drinking.
Yeah.
But like I said, it really didn't get me anywhere.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your time and sharing your story with us. Is there any parting wisdom you'd like to leave us with about your sober journey?
Yeah. Yesterday is history. Tomorrow is a mystery. All we ever have is today. It's a gift, which is why they call it the present.
Thank you so much.